Welcome to the danger zone. Everybody we're talking about.
Tweets censored.
No, we might make some mistakes.
When he took over X, he made a bunch of statements saying he's going to change everything. Global leader of the World Economic Forum. It was planned like a movie. We've been lied to our whole lives about everything.
You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Nationalism versus globalism. The victors write the history books. There's two sides of every story. Maybe we should have a discussion about it. Who are these globalists? Who are the ones in charge? Who's running the media, the news outlets, Illuminati, Hollywood, these demons? Predictive programming. History books lie. Revealed as truth later. Idiocracy literally is like a documentary. It's in front of our faces, breaking out of the matrix. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Danger Zone on this Saturday night. I'm your host, as always. We're going to do a little different tonight. I don't know if y'all know, but we're going to be looking into the history. The history that didn't teach you in school, or they didn't teach you at all, period, in your lifetime. I'm here with my co-host, Ash Ketchum. He's catching all the conspiracies, and these aren't even conspiracies. These are just hidden information that they hid from the public, and so technically they'll call it a conspiracy because they'll be like, I never heard of it, so it's a conspiracy to me. It's like that. What's that scene in the South Park whenever Charles Manson's in the prison? He's like, it's Family Guy. It's like, if I haven't seen it, it's new to me. But yeah, he actually sent me. So this originally was from a TikTok video that my co-host sent me, and it's going over a list of different histories and things in history. So the one thing that stuck out to me, we're going to research it. We're going to pull it up, Jamie, Joe Rogan. We're going to pull up this and look at it live. A lot of these I don't even know. I've never heard of. I can't even pronounce. I'll go over a few of them right here. It says, so the first one that stuck out to me is the near nuclear war of 1983. And I brought this up to my father-in-law, and he was like, I was in the military around that time because I didn't hear anything about it. And so that right there even tells me it's even secret. Then there's the Deer Island concentration camp, the Osga murders. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Asgas, Wildcat Banks, the business plot, St. Francis Dam disaster, Operation Pastorist. There's a bunch, so we may not even get to all of them, but the first one I want to look up, and we'll pull it up on the big screen here. We'll pull it up on the big screen, folks. We're going to give it to you live. Is the near nuclear war of 1983. I'm curious about this. Do you know anything about this? Because I do not.
I've never heard of it at all.
Right. So we are going to jump right into this. Let me pull up the screen here. I use QWant. So this is a shield for QWant. For sure. Let's pull up the presentation screen. Here we go. QWant. It's an alternative for Google. It's a European server. It's anonymous, so all your searches are not recorded. Definitely a good search engine if you want to use it. I've been using it for a couple of years now, ever since I stopped using Google for obvious reasons. So let's get right into this. Let's see if it pops up. Near nuclear. Oh, there it is. It does pop up. Near nuclear war, 1983. Space Force. Hold up. So this is from the Air and Space Forces magazine. So if anybody knows anything about that, I have no idea. This article was written back in 2022. Oh, interesting. Okay. So how the Air Force helped alert a nuclear catastrophe and save the world. The Air Force actually did something for once. I'm just kidding. No, I love everybody in Air Force. I love all the military. I'm just cracking jokes here. It's entertainment. The first half of the show is supposed to be entertainment. The second, conspiracies. All right, this is not a bluff. Russian President Vladimir Putin, warning in September of 2022, made clear his apparent willingness to all weapons available. Okay. I thought this was 1983. Okay, here we go. So the incident was at least as dangerous as the Cuban Missile face-off in October of 1962, yet the 1983 scare remains largely unknown and unexamined, a missed opportunity given that the events of autumn 1983 offer policymakers, military leaders, and intelligence officers significant lessons for current challenges, especially in regards to how to prevent the war in Ukraine from escalating into a nuclear conflict. So this seems like, unlike the 1962 event when President JFK televised speeches receiving blanket coverage and alarmed the world, the 1983 crisis played out largely out in the public view. Americans were
well familiar with how Kennedy and his administration were informal contact with the Kremlin throughout the crisis, and the dramatic confrontation between the United States and the Soviet Union and the United Nations played out on live television. So this seems like it's more Russia-Ukraine. So that's what it looks like. They kept most of this in the shadows, however, until around 2015 when some government papers were finally declassified. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I found some research right here. It says the world came close to nuclear war in 1983 due to two events: a military exercise and a Soviet nuclear false alarm.
So the Soviets. It's always the Soviets. Why is it always the Soviets, man? Is it because of communism?
It says a NATO military exercise in November 1983 that simulated a nuclear conflict between NATO and the Warsaw Pact. The exercise was realistic enough to cause the Soviets to fear a real attack, fueling and arming their nuclear-capable aircraft. On September 26, 1983, the Soviet early warning radar system, OKO, malfunctioned and reported an incoming nuclear missile from the United States. Stanislav Petrov, a Soviet air defense forces engineer, decided to wait for confirmation before reporting the alarm, preventing a potential nuclear war.
Interesting. So it was Russia. Russia tried to nuke us. And they always said that too. It was always in what was it? Some of the songs they made back in the days around that time too. They said if it's the next person we're supposed to fear, it's like the Russians. And that's what's happening kind of right now. We're fearing of the Russians. They're going to start World War III, and not just Russia, but Israel and North Korea and China all teaming up and all this stuff. Not Israel against us in majority because we're supposed to be our allies, but it's crazy. Yeah, they said that it looks right here. It says that the USSR was ready to go. They readied its own weapons for launch. And this, like I said, it only came out recently in 2015. This has been pretty much hidden. And like I said, my father-in-law, who is in the military, he's retired from the army now. But he said that he didn't hear anything about that. So that's crazy that they wouldn't even inform their own military soldiers. But it's not really surprising at the same time, because a lot of, the government keeps everything from its own people all the time. So it either just didn't want to full scale, scare everybody, or it wasn't extreme as maybe we thought it was. But I think that readying a nuclear weapons is a big important thing that people should be notified of, because if they push that button, who knows how many people could have died, and who wouldn't be here today. That's crazy. It's something that they didn't teach us in school for sure. Yeah, like you said, during a particularly intense period in the Cold War, Soviet observers spotted planes carrying what appeared to be warheads taxied out of their NATO hangars. Shortly after, command centers for the NATO military alliance exchanged a fury of communication, and after receiving reports that the Soviets adversaries had used chemical weapons, the United States decided to intensify readiness to DEFCON 1, the highest of the nuclear threat categories. Wait, what? They went to DEFCON 1 and didn't tell anybody? So they're passing the DEFCON 2 alert, declaring that the height of the Cuban they went DEFCON 2 during the Cuban Missile Crisis. So it was above that, and we don't even hear about this, which is very interesting, which means that something maybe the United States did was shady in itself. None of the NATO escalation was real, at least not in the minds of the Western forces participating in. So that's kind of like War Games. Have you ever seen that movie? It was with Matthew Broadway, where he was like a hacker and he hacked into this. It was a game. Basically, it was a game about nuclear war, but it got sent to I think the Pentagon or something, and so it actually thought nukes were being sent. But then when the planes were sent out to go intercept and see whether there were actually missiles in the air, they go, "There's nothing here," and so everyone thought it was just a test. So what they're saying is that it was just a test and it was actually nothing necessary. But you never know; it could have been something real. So basically, it was like a War Games. Kind of situation. That's what it seems. Let's spend a little bit more time on this. I want to see what Elskit says about it, because that's interesting. Let's see. A variation of an annual military training exercise. The scenario started with a change in Soviet leadership, heightening proxy rivals in the Soviet invasion of several European countries, lasting 5 days. Wow, it accumulated into NATO's resorting to the use of nuclear weapons. Soviet intelligence watched the event with special interest, suspicious that the U.S. might carry out a nuclear strike under the disguise of a drill. The realism of Abai Archer was ironically effective. It was designed to simulate the start of a nuclear war, and many argue that it almost did. So, a training exercise, that kind of, I mean, I don't know, man. Like now, it's like we're looking into this. I'm like, now we're going to question this whole entire thing, because it was an exercise, or was they were actually prepared for nuclear war? That's a really good question. Maybe we need a deep dive into this to another episode, because that's interesting. Because it's what I'm reading here. It says that the U.S. thinks that Russia was going to arm nukes, and then Russia says that it looks like the USA was going to arm nukes. And that's typically what happens with military fights. They blame one or the other. Oh, you're going to start it. You're going to start it. You're going to start it. Luckily, they didn't start it. We didn't blow up, but it looks like we're close to that now. But everyone always says that we're close to nuclear war. We're close to nuclear war. But I think right now, actually, it's closer than probably ever been. Everyone's afraid. They're like, even like I heard a lot of people going like, enjoy the next 3 days. I posted it on my Twitter too. I said, enjoy the next 3 or 4 days, because after that, it gets a little difficult. Because I think either way, we're probably going to go into a World War III. And like you said, you sent me something on Instagram recently. What was it? Those cards from like that they made back in 1994, and then like the last card was like World War III, and I was like, everything on those cards has pretty much come to pastor, and I was like, except for that last one, and I go, it's gonna happen soon, or sooner or later. It's like everyone, when the World War I finished, everyone's like, oh, the war's over, it won't happen anymore. World War II started like right after. Luckily, we've been in this long break, so maybe we won't get nuclear war. I would not want that, for obvious reasons. I don't want to die. I don't want to get nuked. I don't want, because I feel like Texas would be like one of the first places to get nuked, because it's one of the biggest states.
I feel like it'd be the most safest, considering they have like the military there and everything.
I guess that's true. Maybe we'll be safe. That'd be nice. That would be nice. That's interesting. So there you go. The near nuclear war of 1983. Anybody that didn't know it, now you know that we almost went to war, possibly because of a training exercise gone wrong kind of thing, or just a bunch of two dogs fighting it out and saying, I'm going to bomb you. I'm going to bomb you. I'm going to bomb you. So it seems kind of shady, especially with the U.S. back. I don't know if I trust U.S. or Russia, matter of fact, but I've been screwed by my government more than I've been screwed by Russia. So it's like, what did Muhammad Ali say? He's like, I'm not going to go fight the Viet Cong. He goes like, if I'm going to fight my oppressors, I'm going to stay here and fight you, because you're the one oppressing me. And I was like, I kind of resonate with that. So that's crazy. That's interesting. Nice. I mean, not nice that we almost went near nuclear war, but it didn't happen, so that's nice. Let's see what else is on here. The Deer Island concentration camp. So I've heard of concentration camps, obviously. The Nazis did it. If you want to call them Nazis, that's a derogatory term created by Jews. I got to be careful what I say. We're still on YouTube. So let's look this up. Deer Island. Deer Island concentration camp. Oh, wow. It pops up. It's actually a Wikipedia page. I don't know if I should trust that, though. Let's go here. I don't know what ICT stands for, but all right, this was written in 2019, but it was updated in 2018. Okay. Oh, my goodness. This is a long time ago. In October of 1675, just 5 months after the start of the King Philip's War, some 500 Nipmucs from what is now South Natick were forcefully removed to Deer Island, a battered strip of land off Boston Harbor, as a concentration camp for Indians. Later, it would become a holding ground for Irish immigrants fleeing the Great Famine. Oh, geez. Pop-ups. Later, it would become a holding area, a prison, and now a wastewater treatment facility and national park. What? Was established by the Massachusetts Council that same year. King Philip's War, or Metacomet's Revenge, as it came to be known, was the first large-scale military aggression in the American colonies and the bloodiest conflict between settlers and Indians in 17th century Puritan New England. Without adequate food, clothing, shelter, or medicine, the pro-English, I can't say that, Algonquin converts who had been converted to Christianity by the zealous Congregationalist ministers from Roebuck named John Eliot. Half of the Indians confined on the island died of starvation or exposure during their imprisonment. When John Eliot visited them in December, he could only report with horror the island was bleak and cold, their wigwams poor and mean, their clothes few in skin. They were the same Indians who were welcomed to England in 1621 with their shaman maslet. I cannot pronounce words. In the years prior, King Philip's War, Eliot worked with his devoted teacher in Soviet of 35 years to learn the language. Later, he worked with Nastan and other Indians to translate the Holy Bible into the local Natick. Really? Interesting. And taught hundreds of Indians to read and write and had established 14 praying towns. Based? Indian settlements built as Christian communities. The first and largest. Wow. So it was a bloody, bloody massacre, is what I heard. It's one of the biggest massacres and aggression in a long, long time. Well, that doesn't surprise me, considering, we committed a genocide. The Pilgrims, the Indians. We always got that bloodshed. That's why the Indians get the casinos. They got to make up for, getting all that money and land that we took. But that's what America's kind of all about. But it's bought on blood. It's founded on blood. And everyone goes, it's mine now. Well, technically, we're Native Americans because, I was born in America and I'm a Native American technically now, but I'm not the Native Americans of the original. But that's interesting. I thought it was going to be something like recent. This was back in 1675. I do not know history that well back. I barely can remember what I had for breakfast. Okay, I had some eggs.
I heard of the Trail of Tears, and I know that one was a really bad experience for Indians as well. But I had no idea about this one.
No, me neither. This is I didn't know about the Christianity either. Then they translated the Holy Bible, and that was news to me right there as well. Mm-hmm. This is crazy. Like I figured, I know, in school, we have a limited time in school, but I've honestly now realized that they just told you exactly what you wanted to hear, or not what you wanted to hear, but what they wanted to present to you. They're not going to present you with the whole. It's like with a piece of pie. Would you take a whole entire pizza and give it to a kid? Because no, they're going to eat that whole entire pizza pie. You give them a slice, or not even a slice. You give them a pepperoni piece. Here you go, and they're like, "What the heck? This isn't what I wanted." You're like, "I'm not getting the whole picture or the whole piece of the pie." And then now we're opening this big pizza slice. We're going, oh, man, what the hell? There's so much pizza y'all didn't give me. That's like a terrible analogy, I guess. But yeah, that's very interesting. Plymouth, let's see, nothing could be expected. The war ended with Manacrock's death on August 12th, 1676, with 600 colonists and 3,000 Native Americans dead, including several hundred Native captains who were tried and executed. Others were enslaved and sold in Bermuda and elsewhere. The Deer Island prisoners were released, and over half of the Indians confined to the island had died. Others too sick to enjoy their liberty for long. Dang. Almost 400 years have passed as we remember this tragic point in our collective history. The Dear Israel Memorial Committee, headed by Executive Director Jim Peters, Massachusetts Commission on Indian Affairs, along with other committee members, had issued an RFP to create a memorial commemorating the Nipmuc Indians who died there. Wow. Okay. At least we got a memorial, that's nice. But man, apparently I understand why they didn't want this to be public. It's pretty brutal. It's a brutal massacre of tons of people. It's kind of weird. That's very similar to what's going on, in some Middle Eastern areas, people committing genocide. And if you mention that, you're anti-Semitic, though. Other than that, that's crazy. That's something I didn't know. Interesting. If anybody didn't know about that, now you know. If you don't know, now you know. Then now one of the next ones. Let's see. The Oscar. Okay, I'm not even going to pronounce this. I'm just gonna look it in here.
Is it the Osage murders?
Yes, the Osage murders. Thank you. I'm kind of retarded. By kind of, I mean a lot. There we go. At least these are popping up. I'd be very eerie if we typed something in and it like didn't pop up. Okay, Oklahoma murders. Oh, more Indian stuff. Oh no. Oh no. The FBI's first big case. Okay, this says history.com. Okay, I don't know if I should trust this, but let's go. It's like maybe looking up propaganda. Who knows? All right, let's see. As detailed in The Killers of the Flower Moon, the murders were among the most chilling conspiracies. Conspiracies! So look, we're here. This is about conspiracies, folks. It's like the word conspiracy. What does it even mean anymore? Does it just mean, hey, here's some truth we didn't tell you? All right. It was the FBI's first major homicide case. I did not know that. You learn something new every day. So this must be maybe the family here. Okay. So in 1920, an oil
questions?
How did you become the Capital One Bank guy?
I didn't ask for this ad to play. How dare you? Dare you? Okay. Oil-rich Osage. How do you pronounce that again?
Osage.
Osage Indians in Oklahoma mysteriously dying during a period that came to be called the Reign of Terror. Scores, perhaps hundreds, were murdered, and in a nation where indigenous people faced rampant discrimination, tribal leaders struggled to find answers or justice. Ultimately, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, under its newly appointed director, J. Edgar Hoover, took on the case, uncovering a shocking conspiracy. One by one, in early 1920, Molly Burkhart's family members turned up dead. Her sister, Anna, had been discovered in a ravine in May of 1921 with a bullet wound to the back of her head following the shooting of a cousin less than 2 years later. Molly's sister, Rita, and her husband were killed when an explosion reduced their house to kindling. Molly suspected poison was to blame for the unexpected ailment that kills her mother, and in retrospect, even the wasting illness that had killed a third sister, Minnie, in 1918 seems suspicious. It wasn't just Molly's family that was being methodically killed on Oklahoma's, I already forgot the word, nation reservation in that decade. More than 24 members of the tribe had been shot, stabbed, beaten, and bombed in one of the bloodiest crime sprees in American history. Wow. Investigators who probed the case too deeply also had a propensity for turning up dead. One attorney with information on the case was thrown off a speeding train while the body of Barney McBride, a wealthy white oil man who agreed to go to Washington, D.C. to ask federal authorities to investigate the murders, was found stripped, beaten, and stabbed more than 20 times in a Maryland culvert. Yeah. Dang. And what the Washington Post called the most brutal in crimes annals in the district. Wow. Talk about a conspiracy where they're like Hillary Clinton killing everybody. What the hell's going on? I'm not saying Hillary Clinton killed anybody, but I am. So sue me. Actually, don't sue me. As the journalist, that's crazy. So it was made into a film. I have to watch this now. So it was a film. So I guess it's kind of open information, but not like fully open. Does it make sense? Fully open information. But it was, based off a movie, Killers of the Flower Moon and the Birth of the FBI, adapted into a 2023. It was recent. It's only like a year ago. Nice. I mean, movie. Nice movie. Not the murders game. Not. Wow. So it may have to do with a lot about oil. That's what it seems like, because they mentioned oil a lot. So when there's oil, there's definitely money in that, and there's definitely murder. Like, people say we went to war for oil a lot of times. We go and take over places just for their oil. I'm surprised we haven't gone and taken over Saudi Arabia and just taken all their oil. That's what it seems to me. I'm interested now to watch that movie. That's wow. So far, a bunch of murders is what I'm hearing. Massacres, murders, cover-ups. Sounds like, just everyday life, business as usual for the government, right?
I found another summary for it. It says the Osage murders were a series of mysterious deaths that occurred among the Osage Nation in order to gain access to their wealth. The murders were carried out by William King Hale and Ernest Burkhart, who targeted the family of Molly Kyle, a full-blooded Osage woman.
Oh wow! So they actually found out who it was.
Hmm.
Well, at least they figured out who it was, and it was conspiracy. But was it really who it was? Sometimes they have martyrs. I don't know. Like did Lee Harvey Oswald really kill JFK? Come on now. But yes, that's a good summary. Good find there, because I'm just reading off of this and it didn't even tell me who did it. So at least they found who did it. I want to dig more into this, but I'm trying to hit all of these conspiracies one by one. We're going down. So, if you want to look up into more of that, go ahead and do it yourself. If you want us to look into it more, that'd be cool too. I mean, these we're just doing. I figured we do little quick ones because there's so many TikTok videos like that they pop up like operations. Like we could do one just strictly on the federal government specifically and all the stuff operations that they've run. But this one's very interesting. So far, I think this is the most, I guess, interesting one other than the nuclear war one, because I didn't know that. But so far, this one's one of the most interesting ones. And there's a film about it, so I know I love films, everybody. I'm a movie fanatic, so I'm going to definitely go watch that movie. And I may give a review on it. I want to do movie reviews soon. A lot of people say, oh, that's not important right now. But I was like, we need a little bit of lightness, in this darkness that's going on all the time. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So, history you didn't know. It's on history.com, though. So, I mean, I guess it's known. Like, these things are definitely, apparently, just not mainstream. That's what I would say. They're just not mainstream history. Especially, they're not going to teach you in school. Because I guess we're kids, so they don't want to tell us too much of the bloodiness. But they were willing to shove a lot of other bloodiness down our throats. I mean, we had to read about the Diary of Anne Frank, and it turned out that was a whole lie the whole time. Even the uncle came out. I think it was uncle or cousin and sued because they said I wrote it. And I was like, what? And I was like, why did I read it in high school then? But that's a different story for another day. Let's go on to the next one. Do you want to pick or what it is? Because my phone's about to die.
Sure. Let's see. Let's go with. Thanks. This some generation. One that kind of sticks out to me is Stalin's Cannibal Island.
Ooh, Stalin's Cannibal. Oh, wow, that was not what a Stalin Cannibal. Oh, there it is. I mean, Stalin, we all know about that guy. That guy was a piece of work. Inside the Horrors, allthingsthatareinteresting.com. I got to bookmark that website, allthingsthatareinteresting.com. Brought to you by allthingsthatareinteresting.com. I'm just kidding. We're not affiliated with them at all. Not that I know. Okay, I'll read this. You'll probably find a good summary because I'll be reading this. The Soviets, man. So today, apparently, the show's about the Soviets and the brutal massacre of Indians, where prisoners were forced to eat each other. Oh, that's why it's called Cannibal Island. I should have known. In 1930, Joseph Stalin deported thousands of political opponents and prisoners to a barren, isolated gulag with so little food that it would soon become known as Cannibal Island. I did not know that this. Obviously, I have just only been digging into actual history in the last 2 or 3 years, and that's a lot of information to go over. So, so if you don't know some things, don't be discouraged and be like, "Oh man, I should have known that," because there's so much garbage that they've just tried to fed us in life, and that tried to keep us from the real truth. So don't feel bad. There's an isolated peak of island in the middle of Siberian River called Nazio Island. So that's what the name of it originally was called, but they changed it to Cannibal Island because they started eating each other. Far from civilization, it's a quiet place today, but the island has a dark past. It was once known as Cannibal Island. Oh, I couldn't imagine living there now. I just, because spirits maybe, or people believe in that, some dark entities and some stuff around there. That'd be really.
I live right in front of a cemetery, so.
Yeah, like that. Yeah,
I haven't had any ghosts yet, so.
That's good. In May of 1933, over 6,000 Soviet prisoners were sent to the island to construct a settlement as part of Joseph Stalin's network of gulags. Overcrowded on the island, which was less than 2 miles long and about 2,000 feet wide, and without shelter, food, or tools, the prisoners were forced to turn to extreme and violent measures in order to survive, like the purge. Within 3 days, I watched that movie recently. It's actually pretty good. Well, there's like election day one. Within 3 days, many started to turn to cannibalism. 3 days. I mean, if you don't have food, I guess so. But 3 days between that disease and starvation, just 2,000 of the prisoners were still alive by the time the Soviets shut down the island in July. So from May to July, three months. Oh my goodness. And the reports of what happened on the island were intentionally hidden from the public. The horrors that happened there eventually came out. Oh gosh, what are we gonna hear? Okay, I was just telling the history. I want to find out what actually happened on the island. These camps served a dual purpose. Not only did they remove undesirables from Soviet society, but they could also, in theory, create self-sustaining communities in far-flung countries of the Soviet Union. So you're just trying to see, like, oh, create little towns. And they start eating each other because they didn't give them any food or any supplies. That's messed up. Yeah. Go create a community, but you have no food, no water, no tools. Have fun. That sounds terrible. What a piece of garbage that Stalin is. I have other words, but I'm going to keep it PG. I'm going to keep it PG. I could go rated R. I'm going to keep it PG. Wow, dude. The atrocities that this world has been hitting from everybody is just terrible. Terrible. I think this needs to be known, and they need to show this to, I wouldn't say young kids in kindergarten, but definitely in high school.
At least at a college level or something,
Yeah, high school, college, bro, if I were to go to college and they'd been listen to this, oh my gosh, we're terrible. Okay, what? Okay, why do I get a random pop-up? Okay, one of the... I was a student in Moscow on the weekend. I went to visit my aunt who lived in there. I got to their apartment, knocked on the door. Where should they grabbed me right there? I was arrested because I didn't have a passport with me. Oh my goodness. It's just repeating some of the same stuff. That's crazy. Wait, flour was given? Here, let me read this right here. It says, okay. It didn't take long for desperation. Without shelter, almost 300 people didn't survive the first friggin' night. The first night. That's crazy. And flour given to the prisoners by the Soviet guards only made things worse. The prisoners had no ovens or tools, so some mixed it with dirty river water. Oh, and died of dysentery. Oh my. Oh, others ate it raw and suffocated on the powder. Oh my gosh. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Every fourth or fifth day, some rye flour was brought to the island and distributed to the settlers, a few hundred grams each. Soviet officials wrote in a report of the conditions that remained secret until 1994. For more than, it's 33, so 60 years. People ran to the water and mixed it with the flour in their hands and ate it. Many people just ate the flour, and since it was powder, many suffocated from breathing it in. My goodness. Oh no, there's little babies. Oh no. Oh. It's when adults die, you're that's pretty messed up. But then you send little kids there, that's oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's
wow. Okay. Well, if I didn't hate Stalin before, I definitely hate him even more. I already did. I don't hate anybody, but you know what I mean? Terrible stuff like that, you kind of go, You're my goodness. Wow. Okay, you picked a good one, man. Because a good one as in to research. Man, that's insane. So basically, starved people, left them on an island. They started eating each other. You can't even blame them for eating each other. They needed to survive, and even then, it's barely few survived by the end of it in July. I couldn't imagine going through that. The PTSD, knowing you eating another person. That's, gosh. Everyone already feels bad about. Some people feel bad about animals and having to eat animals already, but man, having to eat another human being.
I've always been told that when people are starving so much like that it'll make them hallucinate. And
that's true.
You kind of lose control. So I think that's maybe another reason why that happened.
Oh no, I just read some terrible stuff. I don't know if I want to read it. There's one woman who incredibly managed to survive after her fellow prisoners cut off her calves, recounted to residents of a nearby village afterwards. Another account describes how a different woman who was the lover of a camp guard named Costilla was gruesomely murdered and eaten by prisoners. People caught the girl, tied her to a popular tree, cut off her breast, her muscles, everything that could eat. Everything. A witness recalled in history collection. They were hungry. They had to eat. When she came back, she was still alive. He tried to save her, but she had lost too much blood. Many tried to flee, but many made it very far. If their crude rafts didn't sink immediately into the river, they were shot by guards who hunted them for sport. It gets worse. It gets worse and worse, man. I don't know if I want to keep reading this. Okay, guys are going to research this because this is effed up. Okay, effed up. I had to change the settings on Twitch, so I can't really curse anymore if I wanted to be on Twitch. And there's actually people watching on Twitch, so I kind of have to abide by the rules. That is messed up, though. It keeps getting worse. I don't want to scroll down and see what's next. Like, it's just messed up. So now we know Cannibal Island, horrific, terrible. What the hell, Stalin? What in the actual hell? That sounds really messed up. And, rest in peace to those people that actually had, and to people that had to survive, I mean, they're probably all dead by now because of how long it's been, but you'll be surprised, though. There's some people that live a very long time and have long lives. There's what's like the oldest person in the world? They're like 114. They may have passed away recently. I don't know.
I think, I think there's even some people that are still alive that were in World War II.
Yeah, there's that one guy. Oh, he was crying when I saw that video, and he was like, "I don't know what's happening to our nation," and he was like in the wheelchair, and he was like talking about it and crying. I was like, "Bro, that was some sad stuff." Like, dude, like, there's some stuff. This is a very dark stream today, guys. Sorry, I was like, but you need to know the history because of history, they're trying to lie and not tell you things. And a matter of fact, everyone should go back and restudy World War II because I'm finding out a lot of things that just aren't true that they've told us, especially in our curriculum in school. And it was for a reason. They demonized people for a reason, especially when they're going to be doing good. And they killed those people, matter of fact, like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, people that actually want to bring about change and do well things. And another guy, too, I'm not going to mention his name because if I do, I'll probably be thrown off of a lot of platforms that we're on right now. So let's get into the next one. I think I have it open here. What's popping out? Let's see. What's popping out?
Here's one called Wildcat Banks.
Let's do Wildcat Banks. Maybe that might be like a subtle one. Like, I don't know if there's any subtle dark history, but Wildcat Banks. I bet you it's not even about banks. 1837. I wonder if that's it. Let's see. Okay, it is about banks. Okay, so I was wrong, everybody. I repeat, I was wrong. It is about banks. Surprising, shocking. It's called Wildcat Banks. I want to open up Wikipedia, but I don't because it's not really that reliable. Let's do this one, though. It says a panic of 1837 and a financial crisis. Interesting. Unsound bank charters under state law during the period of uncontrolled state banking in 1816 to 1863 in the United States. Such banks distributed nearly worthless currency backed by questionable security, mortgage bonds, and were located in inaccessible areas to discourage note redemption. Note circulation by state banks ended after the passage of the National Bank Act of 1863, which provided for the incorporation of national banks under federal law and the issue of banknotes on the security of government bonds. The term Wildcat Bank was subsequently applied to any unstable bank. Okay. So that's what happened was a national banking crisis. Interesting. I always hear about bankings and the funding of the Federal Reserve. Never heard of Wildcat banking. Let's dig a little more. This seems a little more in depth here. And it's referred to as the free banking era. So the key takeaways. Let's see. They were not fully free of regulation. They were only free of federal regulation. Wildcat banks were chartered under applicable state laws and regulated on the state level. Banking regulations, therefore, varied from one state to the next during the free banking era. The term Wildcat banking supposedly had its genesis in the 1830s in Michigan, where bankers were believed to have set up banks in areas so remote that wildcats roamed there. That's crazy. So they would just make it so far away that you couldn't even do anything. And there's wildcats over there, so no one's going to go give their notes into a bank where there's freaking wildcats. I understand why it's called wildcat banking. That's crazy. That's not as crazy as the ones we've had so far, but pretty messed up. Let's see. And encourage the development of a national currency backed by the holdings of the U.S. Treasury and issued by the office of the. They probably did this so they could set up their bank. You know, they set it all up, man. It's all a setup. It's all big one giant setup. They set us all up to get us banking, man.
Yeah, it says the wildcat banks existed alongside more stable state banks during the free banking era from 1836 to 1865, when the country had no national banking system.
Wow. Huh.
I'm pretty sure they got away with a lot.
Yeah, it said the currency issued by it had been viewed as worthless, and the securities used to back wildcat currencies have historically been questionable. While some wildcats spread to bank their issued currencies, others use bonds or mortgages. Different currencies issued by different banks traded a different discount as compared to other face values. Before the Federal Reserve System was established in 1913, banks issued notes to extend loans to their customers. I don't know much about all this stuff, so this is like ancient. Like this is like looking at like some Chinese lettering. I'm like, what these words and borrowers? And I'm not a banker guy. I know my brother-in-law is. He loves banking, so he may know about this. I don't know if he's watching or if he knows about it, but I meant to talk to him about this. This is crazy. It's good information to have now. Now I know about it, and I can hit people up and go, hey, do you know about this? Did you know about the wildcat bankings back in this before the Federal Reserve was even made? And you're like, man, they're doing shady shit before. Shady stuff before we even knew they were doing shady stuff. It's like shady. It's like layers. It's like nachos, man. We're the cheese, man. That's crazy. So yeah, it's the banking. You know, we all know about the Federal Reserve System. You don't want to talk about that. I did a whole Titanic episode. People loved it. It was awesome. I'm pretty sure that's what they sunk the Titanic for, is so that they could start the Federal Reserve System, because everybody that opposed it happened to be on the Titanic that day. Ironic, isn't it? But that's something you didn't know. I didn't know. I mean, if you didn't know it, if you knew it, you're more intelligent than I am, I guess. That means you're a really good free thinker, and you know you thought with your own mind. You didn't let the schools tell you. So that's interesting. Very interesting. I think we've been doing this for 42 minutes now, so we may be able to squeeze in two more. Let's pick just pick a couple more. Let's see what we got here. All right. The business plot. Let's keep in the business thing. Let's keep it the banking and business. Let's do the business plot, and then I'll have you pick one more at the end. Let's do the business plot, though. The business plot of 1933. Wow. So it seems like a lot of these are back in 1933. There was one in 1627. There's one in 1983, so it's a little bit of variety of everything. We got a little bit of mix of all of history, everybody. Just wait till we get to the pyramids and the aliens. I'm just kidding. That's for another episode. I've never done an alien episode yet, guys, surprisingly, or a flat Earth, or any of the crazy conspiracies. Only because I want to stick to like actual, when people say conspiracies, and it's like it's actually true. They just say that, so All right, the business plot. This is Wiki. I don't really like using Wiki because people can edit it. Let's go to allthingsthatareinteresting.com. Another one. Even the Washington Post talked about this. That makes me feel a little weary, though. So the business plot, the little-known story of the Wall Street scheme to launch a fascist coup in America. Oh, surprise, surprise. Another coup, another banking thing. Okay. Wall Street. We know how we feel about Wall Street, guys, right? We hate them. I don't hate, but as FDR's New Deal worried the Wall Street of bankers decided to replace him with decorated Marine Corps General Smedley Butler as their fascist dictator. Here's how they failed. Oh, they were going to replace FDR? What? Say what now? What? November 24th, 1934, retired General Smedley Butler sat before a closed session of the Congressional Special Committee of non-American activities in New York. Though he was a two-time Medal of Honor winner with a once unimpeachable reputation, Butler knew there was already through outlets like the New York Times who would call his story a gigantic hoax. We all know who runs the New York Times. He also knew, however, that if he said anything, he said nothing in the business plot, a coup of the country's most wealthiest designed to remove President Franklin D. Roosevelt from the office and replace him with a fascist regime could only continue. Worse still, it might succeed. May I preface my remarks by saying, sir, Butler began, that I have one interest in all of this, and that is to try to do my best to see that a democracy is maintained in this country. His testimony was ultimately dismissed. The conspirators were never prosecuted. Surprise, surprise. I wonder who those prosecutors were. I wonder if I should do an early life on them. I want to dig more into this, but this one seems very interesting. I'm really into that business stuff and Wall Street stuff because I want to know who is involved and who, because if you follow the money, that's where all of the bad stuff usually starts happening, like the cartels. I don't want to say it, but those people that run a lot of things and have all the money and run all the banks, they typically make all the decisions ultimately, even for our nation. So it doesn't surprise me that they had a scheme to take out the president of the United States and bring in a fascist regime. That's great. I didn't know about this. Why didn't they teach us this in school? That would be nice. Maybe they did. I just forgot. I wasn't paying attention that day, or I showed up like drunk or something. No, don't drink in high school, kids. Don't drink at all, actually. You'll regret it. So born, he was rose to general, to commander. So they wanted to bring this general as the replacement for the president. But the president grew to dislike him. I wonder why. So yeah, he finally retired in 1931 when the president snubbed him by giving the role of commandant of the Marine Corps lesser senior officer. Dang, he said, screw you, I ain't making you my senior officer. I'm gonna go below you and grab somebody. He must have really disliked this guy. Man, we should look more into this dude one day. I'm gonna look more into him. Hoover's president was riddled with problems. At the end of World War I, more than 3 million American troops had returned from the war to end all wars in various states of disarray. The veterans were without support in an era before the official recognition of post-traumatic stress disorder, the Veterans Affairs Bureau, or anything resembling a GI Bill. Most veterans have received $60 in master pay and a train ticket home for their troubles. That's it? The American Legion, I'm just saying, that's it. Legion organization was consequentially established to reserve as a veterans union to increase their bargaining power in government and petition for aid. In 1924, those were first in the passage of the War Adjusted Compensation Act, which promised World War I veterans bonus pay for their lost wages in the form of a bond that would be collectible after 20 years in 1945. I mean, that's a little better.
I think $60 is probably like at least a few $100s back in 1919, though.
Yeah, that's true. At least they gave them some of that. But it sounds like even to this day, they're still treating veterans like. Even back then, they treated veterans like garbage. And why is it they're always treating people that actually go out and fight the wars like nothing, like trash? And then the politicians line their pockets, and then your kids go out to die, your family members go out to die, and then they come back with post-traumatic stress disorder. They can't get help at the VA. They get blacklisted. They take care of people that are coming into the country illegally over our own veterans that are on the street, poor and homeless. It's ridiculous. Even back then, it was happening. This business plot to take over the president. I mean, say what you want about the Franklin D. Roosevelt. A lot of people, have their favorite presidents. Mine was JFK, for obvious reasons. I mean, he had his head literally blown off for what he believed in, and I think that's an honorable death. Even though it's gruesome and terrible, he got his head blown off, but he died standing up for what he thought was right, and he was a Democrat, by the way. So this isn't somebody like I'm not right leaning. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat, but it's like I think there's good ideas on both aisles, and people should come together and know what's right and what's wrong. I'm off subject, but yeah, there's so much into this. Looks like because this was during the Great Depression. So, and the Great Depression was obviously a great depressed time. They began to panic. Let's see, Baker, something bonus. So, Baker's to the bonus army. Boost the economy total, they would require more than $2 billion. Man, could you imagine $2 billion back in the day? How much that would accumulate? That's a lot of money. It's a lot of cheddar. It's a lot of cheddar I've never even seen. But it's just because you haven't seen $2 billion doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You know, some people are like, I've never seen $1 million. Doesn't mean.
It's like one of my old coworkers. He told me, he says, "Real money don't fold."
Yeah, that's true. There seems like a lot of layers into this. So, but yeah, the summary is that it was a coup to take down a business basically plot to take down the president, and obviously it failed. And that he fired the dude.
It always makes you think, what if if they were?
Yeah, it's like I always wish there should be a show like that. Like I know they did it for Marvel, like the what if, like if this person was this and this person was this. They should do that for history as well. Like what if JFK? Like they kind of did it with the series on Hulu with James Franco.
Oh yeah, the 1192. What was it? 11/22/63.
Yeah, which was really good. I loved it, by the way.
Yeah, it was a really good show.
Where it shows that JFK lived as like the what if. And I think they should do that for like per episode. Like maybe we're making a show right now. Like we're really putting it together in our heads. Like let's do it. But you probably would have to go through a lot of channels because it's history and stuff. And they'd be like, oh, you can't defame this person. You can't do this. That's what's Hollywood. It sucks because guess who runs Hollywood? But it's really hard to tell what the real true story in Hollywood because they won't let you. And I found that out the hard way in college when my own teacher was telling me to just change everything in my script. And I was like, well, why? This is my thing. And she's like, well, they're not going to like this. They're not going to like that. And I'm like, well, I don't give a crap. I'm out of here. And I left film school and never went back. And realized I need to do it on my own and make your own stuff. And make your own content, which we're doing right now. And it may not get tons and tons of views, but as long as you enjoy doing it and you're having fun, eventually I think you'll get what you want. It's like the song, but you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you get what you need. And that's what really is important. You get what you need. It's not what you want, it's what you need. So 52 minutes. So we got one more. Let's do one more. We'll end it off with a bang. I'll let you pick. Then we'll go over for like 10 minutes.
Let's see.
We'll do one more.
What's a good one? Two of them are kind of standing out to me. I don't know which. Maybe we should flip a coin or something.
Let's do pick. Name one and name one two.
So, the two that stand out to me is either the Philadelphia experiment or St. Francis Dam disaster.
Let's do. Maybe we'll fit both of them in. Let's do. What was the first one? The Philadelphia experiments.
Yeah.
Nothing. But there's actually a movie, huh? That's what it looks like. So I think I've heard of this. It sounds familiar because I was really into when I was in psychology in college to the Stanford prison experiments. But then I heard that it ended up he kind of tampered with it and told them to do certain things, and because you're supposed to sit back and let them do what they're supposed to, but he was causing a lot of what they call it when you mess with the experiment, something like that. Well, they actually made a couple of them. Looks like there's also something in 1984 about how's it going? There you go. This is the truth behind World War II's creepy. Oh, it was in World War II. So interesting. Something in World War II I didn't learn about. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of research into World War II, so this is very, very interesting to me already. So creepy Philadelphia as military urban legends go. Urban legends. So what? It's conspiracy now? Because that's the old term for conspiracy theories. Urban legends. Go to Philadelphia experiment is one of the creepiest and most grotesque ever. It alleges that there was a secret U.S. Navy experiment on the USS Eldridge during World War II and claims the ship was made invisible or cloaked to radar and even teleported or time traveled. Whoa. Whoa. Hold up. What are we talking about now? Time travel? Yo, okay. We maybe just stumbled on the biggest conspiracy. What in the heck? Okay,
how could they have that kind of technology? I mean, like, they don't have that technology now to,
it's
like,
aliens.
at least that we know of. But
Well,
yeah, this is like
it's
back
urban
in.
legend. So apparently, it could be just a giant conspiracy. But let's see. Originating from claims by Carl M. Allen and Morris K. Jessup in the 1950s, proposed explanations including mistaken identity, misinterpretation of real experiments, and fabrication for entertainment. It was endured as an infamous World War II conspiracy theory, but is there any truth to it? Let's take a look. According to legends, on October 28, 1943, the USS Eldridge, a cannon-based destroyer escort, was conducting top-secret experiments designed to win command of the oceans against the Axis powers. The rumor was that the government was creating technology that would render naval ships invisible to enemy radar, and they're in the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. It was time to test it out. Witness claims an eerie green-blue glow surrounding the hull of the ship, and her generator sprung up, and then suddenly it disappeared. The ship was then seen in Norfolk Naval Shipyard in Virginia before disappearing again and reappearing back in Philadelphia. What?
Dude, this is like some what do you call it? What's the name of that thing? We're like, this is like some Bermuda Triangle type of stuff.
Oh yeah, that's some crazy. You can do a video on the Bermuda Triangle too, and man, this is interesting. This is crazy. I've never. When I said earlier, I thought I heard of this. I have never heard of it. All I know is that the Stanford Prison experiments. Let's see what else. The letters to the classified documents reported that the crew were affected by the events in disturbing ways. Some went insane. Others developed mysterious illnesses, but others still were said to have been fused together with the ship. Fused together with the ship?
What?
Wait, what? Still alive, but with limbs sealed to the metal. What is going on here, man? So there's a movie about this? I gotta watch this movie. There's 2 movies now I gotta see. That'll give you nightmares. Some say Event Horizon shit right there. Sorry, I'm just reading. I'm just quoting it, guys. Which is actually a convincing reason why the Eldridge story gained so much momentum. In 1994 article of the Journal of Scientific Exploration, Jacquin, I can't say that. I know what it is, but I can't say it. Jacquin F. Vallee theorized that deep-seated imagery is key to planting a hoax into the minds of the masses and the educated public. Okay. But before we break down what really happened that day, let's talk about the man behind the myth, Carl M. Allen, who went by the Pastormondus Carl Miguel Allen. In 1956, he sent a series of letters to Morris K. Jessup, author of the book The Case for the UFO, in which he argued that unidentified flying objects merit further studying. He allegedly included texts about unified field theory because this is what he latched onto for his correspondence in the 1950s. Unifying field theory, which was never been proven, attempted to merge Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity with electromagnetism. In fact, he claims to have been taught by Einstein himself and could prove the undefined field theory based on events he witnesses on October 28, 1943. He claims he saw the image disappear from the Philadelphia Naval Yard, and he further insisted that the U.S. military had conducted what he called the Philadelphia experiment and was trying to cover it up. He was then contacted by the Naval Office of Naval Research, which had received a package containing his book with annotations claiming that extraterrestrial technology allowed the U.S. government to make breakthroughs. That's what I was thinking, in the unified field theory. So he's saying that they used like UFO, they used like alien technology. which a lot of people theory, and it is a conspiracy. Like I said, I haven't deep dived into that. I'm not really big on the alien stuff. I do believe there's stuff out there. I just don't believe we had contact with them. I think UFOs are just the military working on stuff from like the future, because a lot of the things like the things we have now, they were keeping like private for like 60 years. So that's what I think. But this is one of the wildest details. The annotations were designed to look like they were written by 3 different authors. One may be extraterrestrial. According to the article for the Journal of Scientific Exploration, Jessup became obsessed with Aladdin's revelations, and the disturbed researcher took his own life in 1959. Oh, snap. It wasn't until 1980 that proof of his forgery was made available. Oh, uh-oh. 2 R officers and 126 copies of the annotated text printed and privately distributed by the military, giving wings in this long story after. So he fabricated it. So what really happened? According to Edward, who served in the U.S. Navy aboard that ship, the Anger Storm, which was dry docked in the Philadelphia Navy Yard while the Eldridge was both shipped, did have classified devices on board. They were neither invisible cloaks nor television devices designed by aliens, but instead they scrambled the magnetic signals of ships using the degaussing technique, which provided protection from magnetic torpedoes aboard U-boats. That sounds more likely, you know. So it sounds like the guy just made it up, huh? That's crazy. I mean, that's what they say. You know what I mean? That they wouldn't just come out and let you know about all this stuff. That's why this show's called The Conspiracy. You know, that's why we go over conspiracies here, folks. Conspiracies. Because that's interesting, and it's fun to talk about this kind of stuff, you know, because I'm big into time travel. It's one of my favorite things, and I think what really started it was Back to the Future and movies like that. And also I really like those movies and shows where they keep repeating the same day, or they're stuck in a time loop, or, you know, stuff like that, or teleportation like Jumper and stuff like that. Because the stuff that's like out of this world, you like no one believes in that.
Like, kind of, what's the other one, Looper?
Looper, yes, that is a great movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who's Jewish, and I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah, I didn't know he was Jewish, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt's one of my favorite actors. Bruce Willis as well, who's going through a bunch of stuff, and I think he's like not being able to talk now. It's kind of messed up. Great movie, good recommendation. But yeah, so that's crazy. We're at the hour and 2-minute mark, so we may actually do a part 2 to this, or go over the rest of these at a later date, because this is some crazy stuff, man. Every single one of these has surprised and shocked me. I'm not gonna lie. Which one so far has shocked you the most?
I would probably have to say the. I probably have to say the. I don't know. I think it's kind of probably a tie between the hostage murders and the concentration camps.
Oh yeah, same. I think the one that surprised me the most was I don't know. This one was very interesting, but it does sound like, you know, a little far fetched, and they did say that they looked like there were some forgeries and stuff. So, but who knows? You know, because I think this one's really interesting. But I do like the idea of it. That's probably why they made it into a movie. Because that's interesting, because I've always thought that eventually maybe we'd have some kind of cloaking technology, but you know, it doesn't seem it's really getting there. We're getting close to iRobots though, because of what's his name, Elon Musk, with those robots. So they're gonna be like assistants or something. So who knows? Like, I don't think like artificial intelligence is gonna take over. I think like what's gonna happen is that we're gonna have these robots and stuff like that, but a human behind it can like program it to kill other humans. Not like the AI is going to become self-aware and just kill us, but like another human is going to be like, okay, I hate all humans, just kill everybody, including me. It just takes out all of humanity. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. There's all of these so far. There's plenty more. My phone died, so I don't even know the rest of them. But there's probably like a dozen more. So we'll probably do another episode. And I want to mention something that I want to throw out as an idea. And I don't know if you know about it, but it's about the Denver airport being like some kind of secret like meetup or underground thing for the Illuminati. I don't know if you know about that.
Funny thing about that is that they actually themed it that way because of the conspiracy around it. Like if you go to, I mean, I've never been to the Denver airport, but like I've seen videos to where like if you go there and they have like weird things to like kind of hint at the conspiracy behind it.
I think I'd been there, but I wasn't there enough. Like or maybe I just didn't know about it at the time, so I didn't see anything like that. But because my wife told me we'd been there, but I may be wrong because I don't remember ever being in Denver, but I remember being in Colorado. So I thought that'd be a good episode, and there's so many conspiracies and stuff you could talk about. But right after this, I'm going to go look more into that. I think the one that was really interesting was the business plot one, where they're going to try to take the president out and bring in a fascist dictator. And I wanted to see his history and stuff like that, because apparently he was they had Medal of Honor, and he was very renowned, like people liked him. So that one was interesting. There's been a lot of interesting stuff tonight. That's all I'm going to say. But it's been fun. I like doing these lookup ones because I came into it not having to do any research because I usually spend like the whole week researching what I'm going to be talking about. So this was no research, and we did it kind of live. And so it's kind of thrown together, and we didn't go over everything 100%. So like I said, I think the ending closing thing I want to say is, like I say on all my shows at the end of it, do the research, look it up yourself. Don't rely on us or anybody else to tell you. We're just reading off of news articles and papers that were written by other people. And honestly, we still could do more deep diving into each one of these individually. And I think that that's the real conclusion, is that look up the history. You need to learn more about history. And I would say it's very important to do your own research, because what they say, when you control literature, I forget what he says. It's a saying, but like when you control literature, you control people, you control the world, because what you say goes almost. So do the research. Don't take our word for it either. We're not professionals here. We're just conspiracy theorists, just conspiring, trying to catch them all. Pokemon. I'm Squirtle Swag. He's Ash Ketchum. You know what I mean? So, all right. That's it, everybody. Going to give a shout out to all my new platforms. I'm on Instagram. The Danger Zone Show is my tag. Y'all know me on X. I got banned off TikTok. I will not be going back. I might make an account just to look at TikTok videos because I like the TikTok videos, but I will not be making another account just to have it banned again. We're going to be doing this regularly on Saturdays. I may change it a couple of days. I'm thinking about doing some also like movie reviews and stuff like that, because I did watch a few movies recently that I really wanted to review. A lot of people don't like that stuff, but I don't care. I have fun with it. So I may do that separate on a different day. I haven't decided yet. My life's about to get really chaotic. So, I hope if I don't see everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. And go watch The Truman Show. Basically our lives in kind of a sense. You'll get it once you watch it if you've ever seen it before. But all right, y'all, have a good evening.
Now you will receive us. We do not ask for your poor or your hungry. We do not want your tired and sick.
It is your corrupt we claim.
It is your evil that will be sought by us.
With every breath, we shall hunt them down.
Each day, we will spill their blood till it rains down from the skies.
Do not kill, do not rape, do not steal. These are principles which every man of every faith can embrace.
These are not polite suggestions. These are codes of behavior. And those of you that ignore them will pay the dearest cost.
There are varying degrees of evil. We urge you less at forms of filth, not to push the bounds and cross over. Into true corruption, into our domain.
But if you do, one day you will look behind you and you will see we three. And on that day, you will reap it.
And we will send you to whatever God you wish.
And shepherds we shall be, for thee, my Lord, for thee. Power hath descended forth from thy hand. Swiftly carry out thy command. So we shall flow ever forth to thee, and teeming with souls shall it ever be.
In nomine Patri,
et Filii, Spiritus Sancti.